What's good, everyone? This is DJ's Raw and Cut Truth, giving you that raw content that you deservedly need. And we're here with another bangle, another trifecta. And I got my boy Rafael of 3-point conversions. How you doing, my brother?
I'm good, man. How's it going?
Man, great. So the title of this video is pretty much the quarter review of Lamelo Ball and the Hornets. I'm going to start off by saying the Hornets, the good and the bad. The good is the Hornets, they're a scrappy team. They fight no matter if they're down by 20 or up by 10, and they're barely up by 10 many games. For some reason, they play close games. So they have fight. The problem, the PR could have been better. The handling of when is LaMelo going to play, when is Rozier's going to play, what the lineups are going to look like, that could have been better. And shout out to the chat, new media. The leadership could have been better. I know that the team are friendly. They get along with LaMelo. That's never a problem. But I don't think the team has a strong grip of leadership right now. I think there's leadership in spaces. I'm sure Gordon Hayward leads in some way, and others as well. And a direction. What is this team going to be? That's the question. Are they going to be a team that plays half court, or are they going to be a team that want to run? When I watch the Hornets, I don't know what they are. Sometimes they want to run, and sometimes they don't. But I got to be objective. They are playing their hardest schedule right now. And if they were playing easier teams, the record would have been better. So about a week, 2 weeks from now, or probably a month, we'll see what this team is really about. Rafael, what is your opinion on this team so far in this season?
I mean, you said it all. That they're scratchy. I mean, scrappy. They fight. They're young, so you see a lot of mistakes. But I think the good thing is the fact that they don't give up. I mean, they're going to be in a lot of games where they're going to get beat because of height issues. They're not as big up front. They're young. I mean, besides Rozier and Gordon, everyone has played 3 years or less. So, and then their bench is very young. So, I mean, you expect them to lose, or expect them to struggle, but at the same time, the fight in them is what. If you're a Hornets fan, that's what gets you hype about the team, or make you proud about the team, that they don't never, like, they could be down by 38 at halftime, but they always find a way to make it close, to battle back. And we know NBA is a game of runs, but not like this team. It's not just runs, that they're fighting back. They're still playing hard at the end. And so I like that. But you said it, man, scrappy. That's what they are. And I think you can't ask for anything else right now from a young, small team like the Hornets team. Like you said, you still don't see, they don't have an identity. I've been saying this for the last 4 weeks now, since the season started. It's no identity to this team yet. Offensively, you don't see it. I think the more you see Melo in the starting lineup, or even just Melo playing, I think he's the person that brings that identity to the team as far as controlling the pace. So but yeah, scrappy, and they fight. So that's what I've seen so far.
Shout out to you, brother Raphael. What's going on, brother?
What's up, bro?
Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hashtag new media. Hashtag 3-point conversions. At DJ's Raw Uncut Truth. We got Mr. Controversy on the line tonight. So we got to turn up. And shout out to my brother from the UK like no other. Unoriginal Truth One. All right, brother. last time you was on here, you asked the question, and I didn't answer it because we were closing out the show, and we have been on a while. But I wanted to answer that question, and I feel like time has backed up the answer that I'm going to give you. You asked the question: if you're tied to a player, at what point do you have to be objective and fair and look at the team's goals as well? And I'm paraphrasing, you know what I'm saying? Not just be like, okay, well, Melo's not starting, or if it's something that's going to harm the Charlotte Hornets and help Lamelo, do you pull for Lamelo over the team? This was my answer to that question, brother. Everything that you're seeing with Lamelo now, you could have saw it from game one. There was no point in Devonte's life, and once again, this is Rev saying that. Will he ever be a better player than Lamelo? And that's not because Devonte doesn't work hard. It's not to say that Devonte doesn't have talent. It's just certain things in the game of point guard Devonte does not have. Also, with LaMelo's measurables and his IQ and the way he plays the game. I think a lot of us on this channel is not that we're just rooting for LaMelo blindly. It's we felt as though it really gives Charlotte the best chance to win. And for some of the diehard Charlotte fans that are on the chat, it makes them feel as though Charlotte is not trying to win. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I always, at the end of the day, even though I rock with LaMelo, I rock with LeBron, I want them to do right by the team so that the team wins. When you're playing, and this was a statistic that came out 2 nights ago, Devonte Graham, the most minutes in the league. And then he comes up with the growing strain. Bro, that's just not good organizational skills. And that's just not good coaching. And you could have protected yourself from all of this if you just get out of your way. So my question to you now is this. After the performances that LaMelo has had, what do you project the starting lineup being going forward, even when Devontae and PJ comes back?
I think it's going to be. You're asking me, right, Rev?
Yeah, brother Ralph.
Okay. Just making sure. So I think it's going to be 3 guard lineup. He talked about that. I asked him that question maybe like the third game of the season, as far as ask him what did he we've noticed, and me and Danny talked about it. Shout out to Danny Thompson, 3 point conversion senior writer and reporter for the 3 point conversion, who covers the Charlotte Hornets, of course, y'all know. But he we talked about it, and we both agreed, like, it seems like Borrego likes that 3-man lineup, that 3 guard lineup with Melo, Devontae, and Rozier. This is third game of the season. And I asked him about that, and he said he liked it. He said he's going to try it. He's going to keep trying it and see. Back then, at least, when he was trying to find out, about his team, about his players, and so on. So I don't think he takes LaMelo out to start a lineup, and I think he wants to have that 3 guard lineup. It was effective the night they won. I think they won that first game they played it. No, correct me wrong. It was because I've been covering the Super Bowl, y'all. So please don't get on me for this. Friday night was the first night they did a three-man lineup, right?
Yeah, it was. It was.
Yeah, okay. So they lost. Okay, it was 3-man lineup, but they started out. I think the score was 24-12 in the first quarter. So he liked it, and whatever reason, maybe Utah's is that good or whatever, they blew it. But he liked that lineup, and as a matter of fact, we asked him that after the game, and he said, Danny asked him that, and he said, yeah, he likes the lineup, and you'll see more of that. So there's no way he can take LaMelo out right now. I still think he doesn't want to take Rozier out, but y'all know how he feels about Devonte. But I really think the reason why he plays Devonte, one thing I've noticed about Devonte is, and I think it is not even with scoring or anything, and honestly, I think this is helping Melo, and you're gonna see Melo just get more into this the more games he play is, and we've seen it also already, but is really dictating the game. And what I mean by that is bringing the ball up, kind of making sure the offense is running its set. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why he always values Devontae like that. Because I sat back and like, all right, we know Devontae can shoot, and when he's on, he's on. You know, he hit some big shots the other night, 2 nights ago or 3 nights ago. Um, Even LeBron gave him praise. I don't know if y'all remember that. LeBron shouted him out last year in the bubble. Was talking about other. He's like, you got you got players like Devontae that and get no love, but you know he shouted him out and everything. So we know he can play when it comes to that. But I think it's the fact that he runs the set. He runs that offense when he comes in. You know, he just get everybody, make sure everybody's where they need to be. I guess as far as dribbling the ball, and I guess it's because he trusts him. But I think now that you're seeing LaMelo getting the game more, and not just that, but the fact that, and I know a lot of fans don't like this, but the fact that Borrego's will sit LaMelo if he messes up but I think that's helped LaMelo now because LaMelo is seeing, okay, I need to do this. And there's some clips for practice where they show Borrego talking to LaMelo, hey man, this is what we need to do, or I'm counting on you and such, and really spending time with him. And I think it's working out. But I think that's why he doesn't want to take Graham out just because of that aspect, not necessarily because he's better than LaMelo. I don't think Devonte Graham is going to be better than LaMelo. His career, no. I don't think no one thinks that. But I think it's more of just because right now he is the veteran when it comes to handling the ball. Rozier is not a true point guard. He doesn't handle the ball like that. So Gordon can, but they don't let Gordon handle the ball like that. I don't understand why, but so it's when LaMelo's on the bench is Devontae. Nothing. That's why he trusts Devontae. But I really believe that now that Melo's starting, the more Melo plays, he's getting more comfortable. And I think, then you're going to see that where he trusts Melo now handling the rock. Because you go 8 assists, no turnovers. I don't care who was on your team. You got somebody doing that. You can't bench him.
Right on.
So that's what I say about that. But yeah, it's gonna be that three man rotation, I believe. Three guard rotation or starting lineup, but there's no way he's taking LaMelo out of the starting lineup from here on out. I can't see it. He's playing too well.
Raphael, I see you almost said Tay Bay. He's like, take up Graham.
Yeah. Yo,
It's tough, man.
Hey, I shouted down on the show today, man. I talked about that, man. I said, I was like, yo, they be calling him Tay Bay. I said it on a radio show today,
Say
man.
baby.
Shout out to Kobe for the $5 super chat donation. He said, how dangerous would LaMelo be if he had a lethal shooter he could pass to in a big who can catch it and finish it?
Mm-hmm. Say that one more time.
Yeah, Kobe's pretty much saying how lethal would LaMelo be if he had a legitimate shooter and a big man who can actually finish and catch the ball.
Well, and that's what I've been saying. I think I said this if it wasn't the last time I was on the show, the time before that, they need some shooters. If with a player like LaMelo that get assists, because he's the only player on the team that, again, when I was talking about Graham, I was just saying as far as controlling the offense. And sometimes you don't even have to have the ball to do that. You look at Rondo, he's a great example of that. As far as Rondo can control the offense without having the ball. Basically, just let everybody know you go right here, a point. That's what I'm saying. But LaMelo is their only true distributor, their only true playmaker as far as getting people involved. When you have a extraordinary player like this, you need shooters. You need shooters. Yeah, he averaging 6 assists a game right now, just coming off the bench and playing his minutes going up and down. But just think if he had shooters, I'm talking about that can knock down his open shot. You know, it'd be crazy. And he had a big man that you can do a pick and roll. And you don't have to worry about him dropping the ball. So I agree, Kobe. I'm with you, man.
So I want to follow up with another question, brother. You were saying that you think they're going to stick with the 3 guard lineup potentially. Okay, that's a hot take. That is a hot take. That's a controversial statement because then you're essentially saying that PJ is going to the bench.
Yeah, because here, this is the thing. We're talking about Borrego, and Borrego's mentioned that he likes that 3 guard rotation. PJ is nice, and PJ can get you points, but with PJ starting is not necessary. It doesn't necessarily mean that him starting is going to help you win. And hey, Borrego said it last time. When we were drilling him, and when I say we as the media about minutes and starting and everything, remember he said, "I understand that you all," and I didn't put this up. This is the pregame, and I couldn't put it up. I apologize, but not because they wouldn't let me, but I just couldn't. I didn't have a way to. I was on the road and everything. But either or, in the pregame, Borrego said, "Look, I understand y'all. Everybody's big on starting." He's like, "But it's not to me. I don't value starting as the number one thing. I look at it as minutes. As long as you get in the minutes." And he alluded to Manu Ginobili. He said Manu Ginobili. We told him we need him to come off the bench. He's like, "Hey, I'll take it. I'm with it." And you see what he did. He still would come in, get his minutes, and then finish the game. So, and I say that to say that PJ doesn't necessarily have to be a starter. Now, the only problem is when you playing against a big team, then what you're going to do now. But it just seems like that 3 guard rotation works. It worked in the beginning. Remember when you saw Lamelo getting triple doubles? Remember they were running that 3 guard rotation. Part of that maybe because Devonte was struggling. So, so they had to have another guard to help. But either or, it was working. That's when he was getting those triple doubles, nearly triple doubles, and playing well. So he likes that combination. So it's going to it's going to be hard for him to take Lamelo out. Y'all know how he feels about Devonte. It's just I don't know if he's going to pull Devonte and sit him on a bench. I don't know.
Why is that so unfathomable? Like what are we missing, Raphael? Like
I can't tell you. Again, that's his dog. That's his road dog. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. It just seems like for whatever reason he just feels comfortable with. I don't know. And the thing is, Rozier hinted, and I don't know if he really believed that, but when he was talking about he'd come off the bench, and in a sense, I don't think he would want to come off the bench for a rookie. I mean, I don't care. I don't care if you're a team player. To be real, me coming off the bench, I'm starting to come off the bench for a rookie. That's gonna be tough to swallow, But he did it in Boston. And in Boston, it wasn't about starting. His thing was about shots and minutes. So maybe he could, but you just don't take your best defender and put him on a bench. That doesn't happen. So therefore, it has to be either Devonte or PJ. Again, if this 3 guard starting lineup, 3 guard lineup works and is beneficial, why would you take that out? Why would you remove that anyway? But then again, like I said, if it comes to Devonte or PJ, it just the way he's been talking, man, it just seems like it's Devonte. And the messed up part about this panel, and I want to hear y'all thoughts on this. Do you and hear me out. I kind of feel for Devonte because he's taking all the flack. He ain't done anything wrong. What I mean, he hadn't done anything wrong. Like he ain't said nothing wrong. He ain't been tripping about playing. He hadn't been cocky or anything. He struggled, but he's been professional. But it's Borrego. Borrego is the one that's dividing everybody from between Lamelo and Devonte by the way Borrego's handled Lamelo and the way he's handled Devonte. Now, again, if Borrego feels like it's his way of toughening up Lamelo, I talked to DJ, outside of the show, and I said, man, I really think I told him this last week. DJ, you can vouch for me. I told you, I know people don't like this, but I think what he's doing to Lamelo is actually working for Lamelo. Lamelo is starting to see now, okay, these mistakes. You hear him in his press conferences, okay, I can't do that. I gotta get better defensively. I know he says it's just a game, but I think it's starting to work. But yet still, for whatever reason, Borrego is the person that's kind of driving that space between you liking Lamelo and you liking Devonte. So I want to ask you all, do you feel me? Do you see that? Because again, what has Devonte done to get the flack that he's gotten? Besides, I understand if he's not playing well, okay, I get it. But other than that, lately he's been playing well. So what have he done to get the flack, deserve that flack? I don't think he's done anything. I think it's Borrego. Because like you say, what y'all call it? His Tebe.
Man,
But anyway.
listen. Uh, I completely agree with you, man. Before I go any further, I see Jay Wood in the comments. Loyal support of the show. Prayers up, man. Like, hope you recover from that virus quickly. Do you know what I'm saying? That's a nasty thing to deal with. But yeah. Listen, everyone knows I've been on the show multiple times, and I've always gone straight after Devonte, but I have to agree with you 100%. Like, it's not his fault at all. It's not his fault that James Borrego gives him 40 minutes a game. It's not his fault that he's the most played player in the NBA right now. Who's gonna say no to playing 40 minutes a game? I wouldn't. I wouldn't. So there's nothing he can really do about that, and it's really James Borrego's fault for playing him that long, because it's really exposing the deficiencies in his game, while also making. Lamelo comes in and does what he does, and it just makes Devonte look even worse. And there's nothing he can really do about it. And James Borrego's not really as much. He says he loves Devonte Graham, and you can tell he does by the way he talks about him. But he's not doing him any favors playing him like this, because it's only going to make it worse for him. Devonte doesn't come across as a guy that, he doesn't come across like, when you hear him in press conferences or whatnot, whenever he's talking to you guys on 3-point conversions, he doesn't come across as an egotistical guy that, thinks he's the shit, excuse my language, but you know what I'm saying? He doesn't come across that kind of person. But James Borrego is continuing to create that divide by always wanting to mention Devonte. We need him. He's that guy. Like, we can't do this without him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not doing him any favors with his game, and you can tell it's kind of affected his game the way, because these guys see the social media. These guys see Devonte sees the Charlotte fans getting on his back. You see on every post, so it's affecting his game. And James Borrego, what he's doing, he may think that he's trying to big up Devonte, but it's affecting Devonte more than it's positively benefiting Devonte. It's just creating a huge divide, and James Borrego needs to take a step back and reevaluate what he's doing, because he's doing more harm to Devonte than good. For example, he pulled up with a groin strain the other day, the last match. That's a result of him playing as many minutes as he is. That's the fault of James Borrego. So, yeah, I completely, to round my point, I completely agree with you. As much flack as I give Devonte Graham, it's completely not his fault. It's completely not his fault. What's he going to do? Turn around and say, yeah, I don't want to play 40 minutes because, I got this rookie here that's amazing. And, no, he's not going to do that. He's not going to do that. He's turning down 40 minutes. So, yeah, I do blame James Borrego. I give 100% of the blame to James Borrego. But at the same time, I will continue to say Devonte Graham is an undersized point guard that is, you know what? Let me not. I will just stick to the point that Devonte Graham, he's being exposed, and it's James Borrego's fault.
Man, let me answer this question real quick. Raphael, did you used to watch the Lakers back when they first got Kobe?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Where was all this empathy, sympathy for Nick Van Exel? Perennial all-star, hell of a player, one of the best players of his era. He got shipped off to Denver. None of us cared. Eddie Jones, two-time all-star, serviceable small forward / two guard. No sympathy. No one cares. This is what I'm trying to understand. I see a lot of stuff Devonte does. And I'm not even talking about the personality. I'm not saying if he's a nice guy. He's the team captain. He's got all 5 stars on his jersey. That's great. But this is the National Basketball Association. You're supposed to be putting the best product on the court. Devonte Graham, this is what I see that he does. Devonte Graham will give you a 3 and turn around and give up 5 points back to back. Devonte Graham, a lot of times, especially when he plays ISO ball, will see a weak side guard open up on the opposite wing. Instead of running the play towards the screen, he will reverse court, try to isolation ball. He doesn't have the greatest handles, ends up losing the basketball. Now, we're not talking about a 19-year-old rookie. We're talking about a guy that came out of Kansas. He's 25 years old. His development is not like Lamelo's. At this point in his career, with all of the deficiencies he has, he needs to know better than that. He has to be able to do better than that. So my thing with Devonte Graham, to me, the question isn't what is he doing to cause this reaction. My question is, what is he not doing other than shooting the ball well every other night? Why is it so much care and concern for if he goes to the bench? People get benched in the league every day. So my mind has to think this just has to be because it's LaMelo. Because I can't like when dude from Minnesota got benched for Anthony Edwards, it wasn't a national debate. It was okay, yeah, he's the number 1 draft pick. It's time to go sit down. You know what I'm saying? Like it just seems like we're trying to. Yes, he got shouted out for being an MIP last year. Yes, he went from 6 points a game to 18 points a game. At the end of the day, he got 1 vote for MIP. At the end of the day, this year on defense, he's awful. Every other night on offense, he's mediocre. There's better players on the roster for that lineup. Why can't we even consider a lineup of Terry Rozier, LaMelo Ball, Gordon Hayward? If we're going to shake up the lineup, Miles Bridges, and Cody Zeller. It's like it can't even be spoken of. And to me, from what I see from Devonte Graham, I don't think he's opposed to thinking he's the franchise guy. So if you're going to wear that hat, then you got to play like the franchise guy. But all of this violin music that this organization is trying to make, like when Devonte got hurt last night, one of the guys were asking the question about Terry Rozier. No one said anything about Devonte Graham. They were talking about Terry Rozier getting back in the lineup. James Borrego, the camera done switched to another reporter. James Borrego hollers out in the background, "Oh, man, losing Tay, man. We need that kid, man. We really need that kid." Bro, so I don't think it's just James Borrego. I think it's a mix of Devontae's play. Let's not deal with his personality. It's his play that's making us say, okay, well, when the kid gets in the game, the pace of offense goes up. The offense runs smoother. More people are getting involved. and he's giving you 22 or 34 points. I watched that game very attentively last night, and you were talking about the rotations. Charlotte lost that lead when Lamelo went out of the game and Devonte came back in. When Lamelo left the game, Charlotte was up 10 points. When Devonte came back in, they went down too. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's what Devonte is doing. If he was producing at a high clip night in and night out, and people look better on the court, I don't care if it was LaMelo, Lonzo, Jello, LeVar, never lost. If that's better for the team, I'm not going to say anything. The problem is, it seems like in spite of, the guy has a 10-game shooting slump. Oh, we just got to wait for him to get better. For what? Why? Why do we have to wait for him to get better? Why did you draft Melo number 3? So that to me, and DJ, he can go ahead and go next. That's what he does to me. I'm not just putting this on Borrego. To me, Devonte is just not producing better than the guy that's behind him that's 6 years younger.
Sorry, DJ. Can I just go ahead quickly before you preach as well? Yeah, Rev. Well, I agree completely with what you're saying. Like, Devonte Graham's play has been substandard to say the least. But we already knew what Devonte Graham was about. We like Devonte Graham has shown you who he is. You know, he's an inefficient shooter. He can't play defense or whatnot. So his bad play, it's been while he's picked it up recently a little bit. It's been what you see is what you get. So now it becomes a point where it's up to James Borrego to take authority and say, okay, listen, you're my guy, Devonte, but you can't be in the starting lineup. You can't. At this point, it doesn't make sense. So for him to continuously play Devonte Graham, knowing that he's going to give you the performances that he's been giving you, now it falls on James Borrego's shoulders. So that's where I come in and agree with Raphael that James Borrego is creating a huge wedge between Devonte Graham and Lamelo Ball, and it's like I said, it's exposing Devonte Graham even more. Now you've got the national media picking up on Lamelo Ball's fantastic play, and you're saying Devonte Graham's been starting ahead of him. So now it looks now Devonte Graham is in a hot seat that, while he deserves to be in a hot seat for his poor play, the coach that says that he loves him and he wants to do right by him is not doing right by him. He's not doing him any favors. So the best thing for him would be to take him out the starting lineup, which he's not doing. So that's where I agree with Raphael that I can't say it's Devonte Graham's fault. What he does on the court is his fault, but him being on the court is not his fault. He can't do it. He no player in their right mind is gonna say, no, I don't want to play 40 minutes. No one in here, if they're an NBA player, everyone here has a love for basketball. Tell me now, someone here is telling you, no, I don't want to play 40 minutes. Your coach says to you, yeah, you can go out tonight, play 40 minutes, take all the shots you want. Who's saying no to that? Anyone say no to that?
Right
No
on.
one's saying no to that. So I can't blame Devonte Graham for him being out on the court every night for 40 minutes, because no one's gonna turn that down. That falls on James Borrego. That responsibility falls on James Borrego. He needs to be the one to step up, right? Show some balls, and stop this and stop exposing Devonte Graham, because he's shown you who he is. He's not going to change. He's not going to change. I will criticize Devonte Graham for his performances on the court, right? I will never fail to criticize him for his performances on the court, but I can also turn around and be objective and say, listen, as much as I do not like Devonte Graham on the court, it is not his fault that he's on the court.
And this will be very quick before I pass it down to Raphael. The only reason why Devonte Graham is not absolved of too many things, and I do agree that James Borrego and his bad PR has made it worse for him. There are times in the game where Devonte Graham looks off LaMelo Ball. A viewer who loves basketball sees that, and they're public enemy number one. I don't know how they could fix that, but it's very obvious. it looks like tunnel vision. So I can't really fault fans who think that he's holding LaMelo back. At the end of the day, Terry Rozier should be a reliable backup. He's not a bad player. He's just not a starter. And that's okay. He can make a lot of money in the NBA. But like the brother Rev said, the starters should be based on talent and potential. Rozier, LaMelo, Gordon Hayward, Miles Bridges, and it's a toss-up at center.
I like PJ starting over Miles just because I like what Miles brings off the bench. You need that player, especially in today's game. You need that player to come off the bench and provide a spark, provide that energy. If your starters are very good and your bench players, you don't have any good bench players who can bring that energy, your team really is not going to be successful. I mean, you think about the teams that are very good, they have that bench player or two that brings that energy that can hold the team up. So I like Miles coming off the bench. That doesn't mean he shouldn't get starter minutes, but I'm just saying, like, I just like him coming off the bench. If he gets 30 minutes, that's fine. I think that's fine. But going back to, I want to mention something that Rev said. I want to answer that. He was talking about Nick Van Exel, which is a good point, and Eddie Jones. But remember, Rev, if you do remember, Kobe didn't start his first year. Matter of fact, Kobe didn't start his second year until later on that year. He made an All-Star game the second year coming off the bench. Actually, he didn't start until I think later on that year, his second year. So we've seen this happen before, and that's what it is. And it's you got old school coaches that believe that rookies, you want to bring them in slowly. You don't want to play them as much. When he said about Lamelo playing 40 minutes, and when Danny asked him about him playing 40 minutes, getting 8 assists, no turnovers, and 34 points, and remember he said, "Man, I shouldn't have played Melo 40
That's too
minutes."
many minutes for Melo.
Yeah, right. I understand everybody went crazy, but what he's saying is, remember, Melo didn't play a lot overseas. He only played 13 games. Even in the JBL league,
True.
It's different. So you don't want to bring in a rookie and have him play them big minutes like that, because that can hurt a rookie. Matter of fact, i.e., you saw what happened to Devonte Graham. You definitely don't want that to happen to Melo. Then next thing you know, y'all be throwing darts at Borrego. Forget cussing him out on social media. So, like I said, the way he's bringing them along is making LaMelo better. It's toughening him up, and not only that, it's just preparing him for later on this season as the season goes, so he can get stronger, he can get better, he can get more knowledgeable. He sees what he's messing up at or whatever. And LaMelo is that type of guy where just because he's competitive and he wants to be great, I'm gonna fix this. I'm gonna make this work. So that's fine. But I agree with y'all as far as Devonte. If it was a person I say come off the bench, and I said this on the show the first time I came on, I said I think Devonte would be good coming off the bench, just because the fact that, like we talked about, or like I talked about, controlling the game, and as far as making sure everybody's going where they need to go, you need somebody like that off the bench. So I like the fact if Devonte came off the bench doing that and shooting, and you never know, he might excel in that. But again, I don't know. Borrego, and he said it pregame. He said the thing. I wish I would have put that up, man. I could not record it, but he said, we talk about starting minutes, and we talk about Devonte, because Rick Bonnell. Shout out to Rick Bonnell. I call him the OG. He gonna ask a question. He don't have no.
Yeah, he went in today.
Yeah, he an OG. So he talked about what he say? He said he asked him about Devonte, and why are you starting Devonte over Melo? Why would you decide to sit Devonte in front of Melo? And he was like, well, he's like, the thing is with Devonte, he was saying it's not. See, everybody look at stats. It's not about stats. That's why I value Devonte. That's why as a team, we like Devonte in there, not because of stats, but just the other things that you don't see that's not in the stat book, in the stat sheet, which is true. I agree. But maybe that's why it might work out if he does come off the bench. Now you have that person, that veteran. Well, he's not a veteran, but he's more of a veteran than Lamelo and everyone else to come in with Miles, with Biz, if Biz come in, or with Caleb and help that second unit. But again, I can't tell you why. I don't know. He won't reveal it to us why he's so stuck on, he wants Devonte in the starting lineup. So that's why I say he's going to have that 3-guard lineup. And again, he likes it. I mean, and it's worked in the past, so I think he's going to keep that.
Raphael, hold on one second, unoriginal. Raphael, I'm glad that you brought that up. Touche, bro, about Kobe not starting the first 2 years. But cautionary tale for James Borrego and Mitch Kupchak. That didn't end well for the GM or the coach. Dale Harris was out of there ASAP. Yeah. And that's why I say bridge coach. So if they want to fall for that, somebody going to take the fall for that. I understand what you're saying about Miles Bridges being in the starting lineup. That is a very astute point. My thing would be I would love to see Devonte Graham and PJ Washington coming in with that second unit and being a steady pace on the pick and roll. Also, I feel like you got a chance to create something very exciting when Miles Bridges and Lamelo play together, something that makes you relevant nationally, something that might make free agents more attractive to your destination. But I agree with you, Raphael. I do think he's going to stick with the 3-guard lineup. I just wonder, does that mean Gordon Hayward is going to be checking the likes of Christian Wood? Is he going to be checking these big power forwards that they play? I don't know, man. I just feel like you're putting your team at such a disadvantage at the behest of really. It seems like they do value Devontae more than Terry Rozier. I'll say that much. To me, that's clear. But with that being said, you're still holding your team hostage at the behest of 2 guards. And, man, you're asking your players a lot. Also, I got a question before I pass it on original. Is there any prognosis on Devontae's injury, how long he's going to be out? Also, are you hearing anything about any trades for a possible big, anything?
No. First, let me answer the first question. They hadn't said anything about Devontae. They hinted that it was his groin, but they hadn't. Like, Charlotte's very good not saying anything as far as letting us know about the injury. Today was a day off for him, so we didn't get to speak to him at all. We'll probably hear more tomorrow during pregame with Borrego. Now, as far as the trade, no, we haven't heard anything. With Mitch, I'm just looking at how he did in LA. Mitch is you'll start hearing stuff more closer towards trading deadline. I think right now it's more of who, because I don't know if y'all heard about this. So as far as the offer, they're looking at offering Devontae. I think it's a 4-year deal. That was a talk that, or rumored that they're looking to offer him a 4-year deal. So with that being said, again, the only person I see getting traded is probably Rozier. But I haven't heard that. Now, I'm not saying that,
Bruh.
I'm not saying he's getting traded. I'm not saying that's coming from them, but I'm just saying, if you look at the team, who else would you trade unless it's PJ? I mean, maybe you could trade PJ, maybe somebody, but why would you trade a big man for PJ? Or if you're the other team, why would you trade another big man for PJ? And if that's the case, why would we take that person over PJ? I don't think you don't trade a big for a big. So it looks like it'd have to be that's the unless you giving up picks. I can't see if they keep Devontae, what other person is valuable enough to get somebody good for a trade on that team? Because you're not trading Gordon,
Mm-hmm.
not trading Lamelo. If they don't trade Devonte, the only person I can see is PJ. But again, why would you trade another big for PJ? That trade wouldn't make sense unless you got somebody that's just like don't want to be. If you're talking about, I know people don't get their hopes up high, but Drummond, if Drummond don't want to be in Cleveland, and you decide I could see something like that, I'm just using him as an example. That can work, but other than that, what other big would you? Why would you trade a power forward for another power forward? Or
Yeah,
sometimes
Raphael, I gotta ask you this. What do you? I know you realize if Graham has a 4-year deal, the section of Lamelo has a lot of fans in his fan base, and it's not just Lamelo fans. There are some Charlotte Hornet fans who think he's a role player, but not like a person you give a 4-year deal to. If the Hornets give him this deal, it's gonna cause a chain reaction, man. If the Hornets are listening, I'll think very closely before I do it. It's not worth it. The Hornets need a bigger two guard who can shoot. And I mean shoot in the 40 plus, like 45% from three at least. 40 to 45%.
who
And a good
45?
defender. No, 40 to 45 in that window.
Okay, 45 is steep, but yeah, 40. Okay,
But
because 40 is
also
good.
a good defender. You could find a 3-and-D player that can fit with LaMelo. Can you imagine a backcourt with LaMelo who's 6'7" and another shooting guard that's 6'6" or even taller that could hit an open three, that can defend, and you don't have to play zone all day. You could just do straight up man to man. The fans, I believe the fans are smarter than what the media and other people think. They see this team and they see the weaknesses. We all know that they're missing a legitimate big man and a legitimate two guard. By them signing Devonte Graham, a guard that totally, in my opinion, this is what I think, he doesn't fit with LaMelo. This would be the worst move for their franchise. I know they're trying to save money and be cheap, but come on. Number one, you got to treat Rozier better. Rozier is a better player than Devonte. I'm not trying to pit those brothers against each other. I'm just being honest. He's got a rep as a respectable scorer. If you're going to trade Rozier, I want them to trade Devonte as well, but I know they're not going to do it because, we're fans. They're not going to listen to us.
Well, let me say this, DJ. Well, if they sign Devonte, it's not like he getting the max. No, but what it would do is you still need a backup point guard. Like, so if let's say if they trade Devonte, who's going to be your backup point guard? No one. Remember, it's still not closed that he might go to the bench. I don't see, how Borrego talks, but still, I just pointed out that I think it'll work out better if Devonte came off the bench because of him being more of a veteran towards the bench players, and I think that'll work out. So you still need a backup point guard, and if you can give him 4 years, 65 million, that's right now, that's not a lot of money. That's what, even if you get 12 million, 15 million, that's not a lot of money right now in the NBA. Everybody getting $35 million a year. So you still need a serviceable backup point guard. And I'm just saying, so if they sign him, it still makes sense in the sense, because that doesn't mean he a starter. It just means you got a backup point guard. You have another point guard, because really it's only 2 point guards that play for Charlotte. Lamelo, and it's Devonte. So you still need a point guard. Now, as far as Rozier, again, it's just if they're going to make a move, that's what I'm saying, and then try to get his money off the books, then you probably, just business wise, you probably have to go with Rozier to be traded, especially to get somebody in return, because he's probably, like I say, he's the most valuable person you can trade, because they're not trading Gordon. That's not happening. So, and I think if they decided to trade Devonte, I think you can get some people from him or get a good player for Devonte, because he's admired by a lot of people in the NBA. Like somebody mentioned in the chat, Dallas. So he's admired by a lot. So you can trade him as well, but I just
Man,
don't see that happening, man. I can't see Borrego
man,
doing that, man. That
man,
don't look right.
man, brother Raphael, man, man. But look, if we was in Vegas, I'd take you on that bet on that Devontae trade. Like I'm with you. I don't think Devontae going nowhere. Like
Yeah, I don't think
they
he's going
played him
nowhere.
those starting minutes, so he would be eligible for that uptick in payment. Like I think Borrego. I'm not saying he doesn't view Melo like that, because I see his tone in public changing, because it's an unstoppable wave that's happening right now, and the man wants to keep his job, and he wants to be looked at as he developed Melo on the NBA level. So I mean, I get the business part of it. But before LaMelo came, I'm understanding that they really do view Devontae as a franchise type guy. I see how they promote him in the media. That stat was so jarring when I saw those minutes that he's getting a game and how it's the most in the league. You don't go from that to going to the bench. So, I said it a couple days ago. I think Devontae is here to stay. And I don't think whatever they dangle him for on the trade market, whatever GM trades Devonte Graham for a guard of of greater size and half the value on defense, needs to be fired tomorrow. So I don't think they're gonna get what they're thinking. Now I think if you dangle Devonte Graham and Miles Bridges, then okay, now that's more attractive. Okay, yeah, I'll give you my starting two guard. But if you thinking you about to fleece me with Devonte Graham for a 6'4", 6'5" starter, that can't happen, because whoever comes back for Devonte is gonna have to have some size. So I agree with you. I think that's what's gonna happen. I also agree with DJ. I don't think it's a fit between him and Melo, because if Melo is this horrendous defender that they painted him out to be, and Devonte is a horrendous defender, that means you have the worst defensive backcourt in the league. I don't think they're even keeping Devontae to be a backup. I think they're just going to slide Devontae to the 2, and they're going to hope that Melo can set him up and get him some easy looks and also cook as well. And in theory, that's not a bad idea in theory.
Right.
But the inconsistency over his career worries me, in the lack of defensive presence. I want to throw this out at you, then I'm gonna let my brother Unoriginal Truth cook, because he's been waiting patiently. There seems to be rumors that keep persisting of Indiana really, really wanting Gordon Hayward. They wanted him in the offseason. They weren't able to get him. But, whenever you read the trade rumors, it always talks about Indianapolis still wanting Gordon Hayward. I mean, it's just a hypothetical, because I'm still trying to figure out what the hell you're going to do with Miles Bridges, PJ Washington, Gordon Hayward in the next 2 years. So if an opportunity came up for a guy like Gordon Hayward that frees up space in the paint for Sabonis, for a Miles Turner or something like that, would you jump on that opportunity? Do you think Charlotte would for a Miles Turner?
To trade Gordon Hayward?
Yeah, because Indianapolis really wants that piece.
Heck nah, no.
They're not doing it.
They're not doing that. First of all, you're not about to sign somebody for that much money just to trade him. That's not happening. But
True.
no, you
True.
you won't. I can't see them doing that. That wouldn't make sense to me.
For a big though?
But here's the thing: you're trading your best scorer on the team. Let's be real. You're probably trading your best player right now on the team for a big.
Man,
I wouldn't do that. Not Gordon. If you can trade, and now if you traded Rozier, like you said, if you traded Rozier because you wouldn't trade Gordon, and they're saying they're not going to trade. We don't think they're trading Devontae. You traded Rozier maybe for a Miles Turner. I could see.
Nah,
maybe,
Indiana,
see that maybe,
Indiana
but,
ain't doing that one.
Right, but no, because they have two guards anyway. They got LeVert,
right?
They got. But I'm saying, but remember they got TJ Warren too. But it wouldn't for Charlotte. It wouldn't make sense to trade your most consistent player, the only player right now, maybe besides Lamelo, that can get a shot.
Nah, man. Look, if you gonna improve, you gotta give up something to get something.
But I wouldn't give up. I wouldn't give up Gordon. I wouldn't
And
give up
like
Gordon.
Rick, your boy Rick Bonnell said in his article today, look, man. I'm just being real.
Mm-hmm.
It's questionable who's your best player. You could take the mentality of we're gonna build going forward like they did with Luka and like they do with great players, and you can let some of those great pieces go away in order to get more assets. Because see, the picture you're painting, if you're a Charlotte Hornets fan, forget being a LaMelo fan. If you're a Charlotte Hornets fan, it's not a lot of hope from what you're saying. Because if your only trade asset is Terry Rozier, and they really believe in Gordon Hayward the way you're saying, bro, that team, as you say right now, even with Terry gone for another piece, that ceiling is very, very low. That and you know, and I know it's so much hope in Charlotte. And I read the forums and I read the chat section. If we're saying that Terry Rozier is the only tradable piece, oh my God. Like, so where's this team in 2-3 years? Like, how do you get better?
Well, what you do is, that's why I was saying be patient. We're talking about like right now. If you're trying to trade today and you're trying to get a valuable piece, you think and I'm not asking you, but I'm just saying you're not getting a valuable piece with trading PJ Washington. You're not trading,
Right.
you're not getting that. You can get Gordon definitely, but they're not you're not gonna trade, you're not gonna sign him for that much money just to trade him. That's not happening. So it would have to be Rozier if you do so. But remember, like I told y'all when I first came on the show, this is going to be a long process. This doesn't have to happen this year. It really doesn't have to happen next year. What I'm saying is you're going to slowly start to see pieces move away, and they might make trades, and the trades might not happen to bring a big veteran. The trades might be just to clear up space, not even cap room space, but just space in a PJ Walker, and because I think you want to keep Miles and LaMelo because of the dynamic they have in a PJ. You might get rid of Cody next year too. And I'm just speaking, like I said, this is not happening, so don't quote me, but I'm just giving you, just speaking on it. You might get rid of a Cody next year. And then you'll start to create space and room. You might be able to trade, for a draft pick, a second round pick, just to get more picks. So it's going to take its time. It's nothing to be rushed. You don't want to rush it, because it's not like Charlotte right now is at the point where you say, okay, they're a contender. No, they're not even a player away from being a contender. When I say contender, I'm talking about contending for the finals, for the Eastern Conference Finals. They're missing about 2 players. So it's going to take time, and you want it to take time. So, but I'm talking about as right now, everyone's screaming, we need a big man today. We need a big man this year. The only person you can trade, unless you're trading draft picks and like the Twins or somebody. And honestly, I wouldn't even trade Caleb right now because the way he hustles and he plays. But it would probably be Rozier if you're talking about just trading a player for a player.
Yo, Raphael, man, when you mentioned the Twins, man, I just saw them last night get barbecue chickened all over the floor. Not floor, the flow. Boy, they were garbage, man. I'm just being real. It's tough to listen to, brother, because when you watch the Twins play, and then when you watch Devonte do what he does, and he taking all the shots like he's Iverson, to hear that they may give him 4 years. And Trent Tompkins is right there with -21 last night. To give Devonte 4 years is something that I don't, as a fan of LaMelo Ball, I got to be honest with you. I do not look forward to that. I'm going to think this team is trolling everybody And I'm gonna let my brother unoriginal truth speak.
Man, listen, I was on mute, but when Raphael said Charlotte looking at giving Devonte Graham 4 years, oh my god. I was about to scream. I was about to scream, man. No, I can't. I don't even want to think about it, man. But DJ, I wanted to go back to a point you said about getting Lamelo a two guard that could shoot between 40 to 45%. I mean, in this league, them guys have probably already got their contracts. They're getting paid because a two guard that's about 6'5", 6'6", that can shoot 40 to 45% from three. That is that's a man that's getting paid in this league. I don't see where you can find someone like that. That's someone that's on a contender most likely, or you know, and quite frankly, who's giving up that kind of player for Devonte Graham or Terry Rozier, two 6'1" players? I don't see that happening, and it comes back to my original point, which I said on the last show and the show before that, which Rev hates me saying, but Miles Bridges. You know, Raphael said, "What assets do Charlotte have that are valuable?" It's Miles Bridges. He is so valuable. I mean, because of the way he's playing alongside Melo, it's risen his value up so much that whoever Charlotte are looking to trade for, every team that they get into negotiations with will be asking for Miles Bridges. If you wanna throw in Devonte Graham, right, cool. But you're not gonna throw in Devonte Graham by himself and get something valuable without throwing in a Miles Bridges. They will ask for Miles Bridges. And it's sad to see, and it's sad for me to say repeatedly, but it's the truth. He is really the most valuable asset that they have, which I feel like Charlotte have made him expendable. When you give Gordon Hayward 120 million, Miles Bridges, you're living on borrowed time, especially seeing as your contract's up at the end of the season. But yeah, that's what I really have to say about the trades. I hate saying it because I really love Miles Bridges, but I look at it and I'm like, you give Gordon Hayward 120 mil, you're living on borrowed time.
Unoriginal truth, man. You know the saddest thing about hearing about the potential of Devonte Graham, and I'm sure he's a great guy. I don't know him personally, and we want all the brothers to get paid, but I don't think a lot of teams right now would give Devonte 4 years.
Hell no.
I mean,
Hell no.
they rather buy a bag of chips at Earl's barbershop down the street than give that brother 4 funky years. I'm like,
Stop saying it, man. It's heartbreaking. It's
I've
heartbreaking. I'm not
accepted
trying
it.
to hear the 4 years,
Man,
man.
I've accepted it. I've moved on, brothers. I'm not gonna lie. I think I think Devontae is going to be starting next to Lamelo, and now at this point, we just got to see the chemistry build, man. What I can say when I see them on the court together, and this is the truth. If y'all go back and look at a lot of games, Devontae will struggle, but if he gets in rhythm shots, when LaMelo starts feeding him those in rhythm 3-pointers, it gets him going. So best case scenario, yeah, I think Terry Rozier is going to be gone by the deadline, Raphael. I just have a feeling. You know what I'm saying? I'm just curious to see what they're going to get back for him, and because they, in one way, they're saying, okay, we got a chance to make the AFC. That's what you're getting from the organization. Well, in order to make the AC, they're going to have to make some kind of move because their schedule has been brutal of late. And they just look out, man. Like DJ said, they're very scrappy. They're playing really hard, but they just don't have the tools, as a team right now to succeed. So, yeah, I think Terry's going to be the odd man out.
Yeah, it could be. And look at it like this. I said this when I first came on the show. I know it's good for a team to make the playoffs, and you kind of want them to make the playoffs because, especially with a young team, it gives them confidence for the next year. So you want a team to make the playoffs, but man, I'm not saying tank at all. But let's say I'm just saying if they playing hard and they don't make the playoffs, who's to say that's not a good thing? Because you can get lucky and get it in the lottery. Because you're going to need a couple of draft picks with this team to play with these players. Again, it's positionless basketball, and they fight hard. But let's be real. What's the identity? And again, I'm gonna ask y'all this. Yes, Lamelo handling the rock and running the offense is great, but do you think when it comes to when you need someone to score, do you think they should set up more plays for Gordon Hayward? Because I don't think they run enough plays for Gordon Hayward for somebody who can get their shot at any time for this team. It's not a lot of players right now for Charlotte that can get their shot up. I mean, Graham can, if he gets a pick, he can shoot a jumper. Rozier shoots jumpers. He drives to the hole, but no one gets a shot easier than Gordon. Gordon's crafty with the ball. So I don't understand why they don't run a lot of plays for Gordon. And I'm not saying plays as far as let Gordon get on the wing or on the elbow with 20 seconds left and jump. No, I'm talking about go through your motion, let LaMelo handle the rock, and run a play where he can get Gordon the ball in rhythm to shoot the ball.
I think Gordon wants the ball in his hand, Raphael. I think that's the answer. Because if you see in the fourth quarter, it seems like their offense shifts to Devonte running ISO and Gordon running ISO. And I've seen many times when he runs that ISO play, it's a horrible turnover at a crucial point in the game. I think I was quoting Rick Vernell because he was saying you really don't know between Gordon and LaMelo. Like just looking right now, who's the better player? I think LaMelo breaks down the defense better than Gordon. I think Gordon, out of seniority, he should have that. I think it should be on Gordon right now. I'm not gonna sit up here and trip. Out of seniority and being a proven commodity in the NBA, it should be. But really, honestly, if it's an isolation game and I need some wiggle, and I gotta trust somebody to kick the ball out, the ball would be in Melo's hands. But I would understand if it's in Gordon's hands. I get it. Man, I mean, look, bro. Look, you put a red pill or a blue pill on the table tonight, man. You really shaking up the chat. You shaking up the world, Mr. Controversy. You were living up to your name, sir.
Hey, that's what I do.
DJ, save me, bro. Save me.
Wait, I told y'all when I come on here that or wherever I go is this is not to play fan favorite. This is not to even agree with y'all because sometimes you do have to look at the other, the other perspective,
Right.
just for it to make sense for you to say, okay, I'm sure that that's not the way we want to go. Even if I'm wrong or whoever's wrong, but it still gives you a way to look at the other perspective to make sure that you're right or to make sure that, you know what, I do agree with him or just to look at everything in the other, there's a whole perspective. And that's why I say, and just real quick, DJ, just to go back real quick, Rev, when I'm saying that it should Gordon should get the ball. I'm not saying he should have the ball with 16 seconds left and drive to the hole. I'm saying run a play for him. When you run a play for him, LaMelo has the ball. You want LaMelo to have the ball and let Gordon cut or whatever, and to where when LaMelo's driving, then he can find Gordon for a rhythm shot. That's what I'm saying. Because I think you want both players, your best players, to have the ball. So I agree with you.
I think it's because of what Mitch said the first night about everyone can play positionless basketball. Devonte can bring the ball up, and that's what it is. What you're having is you got those guys getting the rebound, they're pushing the ball up full court. Any smart defensive coach, Gordon Hayward can't really handle the ball. He's serviceable, but if it's pressure defense, he can't cross over in the middle of the court. So it seems like they're just getting up under him in the fourth quarter. And he's produced. He produced down in Miami. He hit some big shots, but more often than not, when he's initiating the offense, that's the problem. And I think they're going to continue to do that because I feel like he came in wanting to be more of a playmaker. So I think he wants the ball in his hands. And I think it'll be that way. They're gonna live on that shield or die on that shield.
Man, I just wanted to chip in real quick before DJ goes off. Rev, you're right on the money. Answering your question, Raphael, I feel like they should run more plays for Lamelo because, like Rev said, he can break down the defense way easier. So let's say you run a play for Lamelo to get a bucket. The thing is with Lamelo, he can get the bucket, but he also has the ability to find an even better opportunity. So he can find someone out on the perimeter in rhythm for a free. The thing is with Gordon Hayward, although him being the $120 million man, he deserves the right to have more plays run for him. He's a walking 20-25 piece, right? But with Gordon Hayward, he likes to bring the ball up. He wants to run the offense. It's not a case of put the ball in LaMelo's hands and let him run a play so he can get Gordon Hayward open. Gordon Hayward likes to dribble the ball and get his shot. The problem is Gordon Hayward's handle isn't the greatest. Will Gordon Hayward be willing to accept acquiescing to LaMelo Ball to find him every time rather than just grabbing the ball and looking for his own shot, trying to create his own shot? That remains to be seen.
Yep, that's on Borrego though. That's on the coach.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. See, after that, that falls on the coach. The coach has to instill confidence and instill confidence that this play will work, or find him where it, because you're right. He likes to penetrate. He does that, but at the same time, we've seen him where he catches the ball in rhythm. When I'm saying in rhythm, it doesn't mean as soon as he catches the ball, he has to shoot it. But as far as a pass where he could take, he's in rhythm, he could take them 2 steps, lay it up or a step back, fade away, whatever it is. But you want the ball in both those guys' hands. You want Melo. You don't have to run a play for Melo because Melo has the ball and Melo is going to create whether he's going to score or not. So not necessarily running a play for LaMelo, but you let LaMelo do LaMelo. But I think with Gordon, you need to run plays because, like you say, he's not the best dribbler. He doesn't have the best handle. So you run a play for him to get in that sweet spot for it to work out. But you gotta play off your 2 best players, And right now, with see, y'all about to have me call that man Tay-Bay. With Devonte,
hey baby,
with Devonte is averaging 14, 5.8. So we're gonna say 14-6. Melo is averaging 13-8. So we're gonna say 14-6 as well. So it makes sense when you say LaMelo might be your best player. I understand what Rick is saying. I understand what the OG is saying because he's right between Gordon or LaMelo. He surpassed Devonte. He surpassed, but because, and I think, and DJ, I'm gonna pass it to you, but I think this is where Borrego is saying he likes Devonte. Is like I said, sometimes your best player doesn't equate to just being the person who knows how to, do other things for the game. And, he doesn't have to be your best scorer or whatever. I think that's why Borrego keeps trying to stick with Devonte because he like the little stuff that he does. But you have to have the ball in your best player's hands, and that's LaMelo and that's Gordon Hayward.
You see the difference? Most of us, we would constructively criticize Gordon of over dribbling sometimes, trying to, dribble to the middle when that's not his game. But we'd rather him get more touches than Devonte Graham.
Right.
We'd rather see that because he has the seniority and somewhat accomplished something at a normal level. Never won a championship or anything, but he's made an all-star before with Utah. He's been very valuable with the Boston Celtics. So he's earned his clout. I just got to say, man, we look at all the weaknesses of the Hornets and what they need to do, and to even think about this organization paying Devonte Graham 4 years.
Man, don't do it.
I can't even imagine it, but I had to make it reality because this franchise seems like they would be the type of team that'll do it. I tell you right now, there are not a lot of NBA teams that will pay Devonte Graham 4 years. I'm just being very truthful with you guys. No team will do it. They'll do a 2-year deal. They'll do a 1-and-1, but definitely not a 4-year deal. As a fan of Charlotte, to the fans of Charlotte that are listening, how does that look like to you? What does that look like to you? LaMelo Ball and Devonte Graham. It doesn't make sense, right? At all. This is what bad teams do. Charlotte has never had a history of being a dominant team, and it looks like they're repeating the cycle. Like Kenneth McKinney says, 2-year, $14 million. That's it, off the bench. To be a reserve, yeah, they'll pay that, but they're not going to do a 4-year deal.
DJ, can I say something? Rev made a good point.
Absolutely.
Rev made a good point earlier. When he was like, man, we might have to just live with this as far as with Devonte and Melo. But let's think about this. Could it work? And the reason why I say that is if LaMelo is handling the rock, and like Rev said, and he's getting Devonte a better shot in that sweet spot and because he's drawing a double team and the defense is closing in on him. Now he can kick it back out to Devonte, and Devonte can hit that shot. That could work. And let's get it. And let me ask this. And I understand because we say it might not work, but it could. We talk about him getting a 4-year deal. Would we really be getting upset for giving Devonte a 4-year deal if it wasn't for Melo? Is that what it is? And I'm asking Melo, is it because of Melo? And what I mean because of Melo, saying because he's playing, because you got a point guard now. You have the 6'7" point guard that can do everything, to score. So is it he shouldn't get a deal because of that situation? Or is it because he's not deserving? Because remember, last year, Charlotte was, and I know a lot of fans here just came on because of LaMelo, which is cool. That's how NBA works. That's how the NBA works. You know what I'm saying? If you're a fan of a player, you follow where they go. That's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm saying last year for the Charlotte fans, they were praising this guy Devonte last year. And yes, Devonte came out with a slow start. He started slow. So a lot of players started slow this season also. But I'm just saying, is that why we say don't give him a 4-year deal? Because of the situation with LaMelo, or because he started out slow? Or is it the fact that you just don't think he can mess with LaMelo? And I know y'all,
brother, defensively,
he's 5'11" and he's trash. Like
unoriginal truth
really
is raw with it.
I'm sorry, I can't. I was waiting for him to finish. That's really what he's 5'11" and he's trash. It has nothing to do with LaMelo. Like, I need people to stop thinking it's because of LaMelo. Like, we watch basketball. We see what Devonte Graham brings to the team. Forget LaMelo Ball. Why are you starting a 5'11" point guard with no handles? He has no handles. He picks up his ball every time. He's not a facilitator. He runs down the shot clock and swings it to someone to get an assist. He shoots 30-something% from the field. Like, how do you shoot 34% from the field for your career? You're 26. Do you have any shame? Like, come on, man. Like, I mean, you know, I'm sorry to get it, but let me calm down a little bit. But, man, like, to answer your original question, right, about could it work with him and LaMelo, right? As long as James Borrego is the coach, I don't think it can work because his infatuation for Devonte Graham will always be a detriment to the team. It will always be a detriment to the team because there will be times in the game where he will tell LaMelo to go to the corner and tell Devonte Graham to bring the ball up. when you saw it against Utah how detrimental it was, where you had the 3-guard lineup, right, and it was working in the first quarter. Then you bring out Lamelo, right, in the second quarter. You have Devonte Graham running the show, and the lead they had evaporated like that into thin air. As long as James Borrego is the coach, I don't think Devonte Graham and Lamelo Ball can work. Now, if James Borrego was to leave at the end of the season, you come under new management, and that management realizes the franchise player you have in Lamelo Ball, and then you kind of change Devontae's mindset into, okay, everything you do now is to benefit Lamelo Ball, then yes, maybe it could work. But 4 years? 4 years? Oh, hell no. No, I can't deal with it. I cannot deal with it. I'm sorry.
Brother, to answer your question, man, I always use this example. Is Devonte Graham better than Nate Robinson? No, we're not gonna cap. Nate Robinson had years he was putting up 50 points. You know what I'm saying? Like Nate Robinson, I know he got knocked out by Logan Paul, Luke Paul, or whatever his name was, but he was a serious hooper when he was in the league. He was a serious hooper at Washington, at the University of Washington as well. Is Devonte Graham at his peak better than Isaiah Thomas? Hell no. It's always been hard for small guards to get deals, especially 4-year deals. It's not even about LaMelo. Like, I knew about Devonte last year. I knew about him being an improved player. I knew about him in Kansas. And I agree with Kevin Durant when he came out of Kansas. I think it's going to be hard for this guy to stick in the league because with those small guards, man, it doesn't matter how many points they give you if they're a turnstile on the other end. So it has nothing to do with Melo. Like, I'm a Lakers fan, bro. If we took him and we paid him that amount of money, I would be up in arms. It's just you don't want to dedicate any cap space, any significant cap space to someone who's going to be a liability. If you already feel like LaMelo is a liability on defense, and I'm just speaking for the organization because I think he has been leagues above what they expected him to be. But if you look at LaMelo as a work in progress on defense, you cannot afford to have, quote unquote, 2 work in progresses on defense. You want to look like at some point, if you're selling the fans on the idea of you're turning it around, it's going to be a different Charlotte, Buzz City, you got to start looking like a serviceable NBA team. And the only way you could do that is to get out your feelings. If you feel as though that Devonte Graham is this guy and around the league, people are going to want him, okay, well, dangle him out there on the trade block. Let's see. Or a matter of fact, when it comes contract time, let's go see if he can get a respectable 4-year deal. If he doesn't get a respectable 4-year deal, you made a mistake. Raphael, I don't know if you're in the South. I don't know if you're in the South.
I'm in Atlanta, bro. I'm in Atlanta right now.
Okay, so I'm in the A2. See, this ain't our first rodeo with this, then, is it?
Right.
The Falcons are the kings of doing this trash. They sign a bunch of guys that they tell us are respected. They tell us they're good. They tell us they can go to another team. And this is what the Falcons are historically known for this. The guys go on the free agency market, and you know where they go play? The Winnipeg Dingoes or something like that. They don't even play in the league no more. Vic Beasley left the Falcons and lasted on the Tennessee Titans for all of 6 games.
Garbage.
Absolute garbage. And I'm telling you, if Devonte Graham was to go to a contending team, he's not going to be the 6th man. He's going to be a 7 or 8 rotational guy that they hope can get in the game and get hot. That's all. That's the only thing you really can use him for.
Man, he'll be in the JV before the end of the season.
Who he starting, Raphael? Who he starting for in the National Basketball Association?
Yeah, I don't think he's starting, but I agree with Original Truth. What Original Truth said, the fact that, and I've been saying this, I think it falls on the coach and how you coach him. So I'm gonna drop a gem for y'all. You know what? You know why they probably play positionless basketball? Because of Devonte Graham. That's why they play positionless basketball. Yeah, you got PJ, but PJ can play a power forward. He's more of a power forward today. You know, Zellers is more of a center, right?
Right.
Gordon is a small forward. He's a true small forward. Rozier is a combo guard, but you could play him at 2 guard, but he's more of a combo guard, so I could see that. Devonte doesn't play a point guard. You mentioned the small point guards, right? You talked about Nate Robinson. Nate Robinson wasn't a point guard, but Nate was a fierce competitor and he can play. So, but then you mentioned, who was the other point guard you mentioned?
IT.
IT is the same way. He's not your typical point guard. IT is a scorer, but he's small, but he can score. Both of them can get their shot. Devonte is not that. But at the same time, Devonte is not your typical point guard either. But again, like I said, the small things as far as just he's smart. He's a smart player. I think that's what gets him. And I think maybe that's why Borrego likes him. I don't know. But I think that's why they play positionless basketball.
The man ain't even got a basic 2K layout package, man.
Right. And that's my point. But they do it because of him. And I think that's why they play. So it goes back to coaching. And I think, and trust me, man, I think Borrego, I like Borrego as far as when he talks basketball. But as far as what he's doing with his team, I don't think it's working. I don't think this is the team you do this with.
Bro, I'm willing to make a bet with you on here right now. If James Borrego get fired, Devonte Graham gone.
No, you're right. I agree. But I really believe that if Devonte Graham, you talked about LA, or if he went somewhere else and he comes up, he could bring the ball up as far as he's dribbling the ball, come up the court, pass it, and move around. He's that guy. If you find him where he can shoot that jump shot, then that's when he's valuable. But Charlotte doesn't play him like that. Charlotte plays him as a point guard.
Raphael, I'm gonna reenact this scene. This is Devonte Graham if the coach is fired. And let's say Mark Jackson is a coach. This is him. I'm at the mute, y'all. Okay, wait, hold up. This is too good. All right. So, Mark Jackson, what about that spot, the starting spot? For what? The starting spot. No, we don't play 5'11" guards. Oh boy, I hope I don't go to hell for that joke.
Stupid, man.
Man, listen, like we talk about Isaiah Thomas, right? He was 5'9", 5'10" at best, but he took the Boston Celtics to the Eastern Conference Final. He was an MVP candidate. Like, he could get his shot at any time. The hip injury done him dirty. Okay. Devonte Graham, right? You're 5'11". So when you're that short, you have to be exceptionally skilled to be able to play in this league. Nate Robinson was an extremely athletic guard. He could go up against anybody. He could attack the rim like it was nobody's business. Devonte Graham's best attribute is being a 36% three-point shooter. What am I meant to do with that? You ain't even got a basic 2K layup package. You can't get your shot anywhere. You ain't got no handles. You're a turnstile on defense. What use do I have for you? The only reason why you're a starting player in the NBA is because James Borrego is in love with you. That is the fact of the matter. Any GM that trades any player that's above 6 foot for Devonte Graham should be sacked the next day. The next day.
Let me ask you a question. This doesn't have anything to do with Charlotte and anybody for Charlotte, but this is the second time. So unoriginal said that 36%, like, that's not good. And maybe, like I said, maybe I'm too just old school. And DJ was talking, need somebody to shoot 45% 3-pointer. Like, who are these guys y'all talking about? Like, only players I know.
No, we said between 40 and 45.
Bro, 38% from regular field goal. No. He shot
I thought he said from 3. Okay,
no, he
that's
shot
what. Okay,
38. Devonte.
okay. I'm
Man,
sorry.
you won't hear Ralph, so I ain't gonna go in on the dude. Devonte shot 38% from the field. That is horrendous for a guard. That's not good.
I agree, and that's why I said this had nothing to do with Devonte and Charlotte. I thought on the original was saying like shooting 36 from 3. That's why I'm like, no, that's good. What? I mean, it's not great, but that's if somebody's shooting 31. Like I said, this has nothing to do with Charlotte. But then when DJ was like 40 to 45, I'm like, yo, it's not too. It's about 2 people to shoot over 43% from 3, maybe, you know. But I get you. No, I get y'all, and that's what I'm saying. I think he's in the wrong system.
Right.
He's not the player that they want him to be. I think last year he was able to improve because it was no pressure, and it was one of them things like, all right, we just gonna shoot anyway. Like, it's just this is what we doing.
Right.
But it can't right now. It can't work with him running point because he's not a true point guard, and he's not the guy that can get his own shot off. So you're putting him in a bad position regardless. You know what I'm saying? So if you're starting him, that's why it's like, I think he should come off the bench. But that's why I say if he was, and I understand your point, probably can't play together because of the backcourt and all that. But I'm just saying, defense. But I'm just saying, I think he'll be more valuable playing with Melo setting him up for a shot and him shooting on rhythm versus him bringing the ball up and then trying to create it. That's not his game. He's not that. And I think that's why he's struggling, because they're trying to make him that guy, and he's not that.
I want to slide a question in there real quick. The John Collins, Trae Young situation. I've seen rumors about John Collins and things of that nature. It seems like Trae's playing a lot better. You got any updates on the Atlanta Hawks, and do you expect John Collins to be there long term?
It's iffy. I mean, I think so. Atlanta wants him. They were trying to work out a deal. They couldn't come up with the numbers. Trae and John work together. You know that they love each other. They boys, and it was just. And he's a restricted free agent. He's not an unrestricted free agent. So they just couldn't come up with a deal. It was really no rush right now. They want to sign him, but from Atlanta's perspective, it's no rush. I understand John wanted it done, but it's no rush because anybody to sign him, they can match it, you know, if they need to. So I don't just think, I'm going to just tease y'all, but just think, you know, if he does leave Atlanta, just say some way, somehow he, you know, or he's a restricted, so Charlotte can go after him. But if Charlotte went after him,
yep,
and he
that's
played
what I was
with
getting
Lamelo,
at,
it'll be the same. It'll be what you see in Atlanta. You see they got that connection, Trae and John with shooting with them alley-oops, and it'll be the same. So, but I don't. Again, I think whatever they match him, Atlanta's going to go ahead and counter, because now, like, no other team can sign him for the max anyway, not for the max. So this restricted hurt John Collins because he lost money, because now, unless Atlanta decides, are we going to sign him for the max? If anybody else, because he's restricted, if Charlotte say we're going to give him the max that we can give him, it's not the max that he wanted last year, and Atlanta can match it.
But yeah, this was a great show. And Raphael, your family, you're always welcome.
Appreciate it.
Make sure everyone in this chat that are listening, make sure you subscribe to 3 Point Conversion, not 3 Point Conversations or Conversions. 3 Point Conversion.
Make sure you remember the 3 point conversion.
The 3 Point Conversion, right.
Right.
The source for Atlanta Hawks, Hornets, and anything with the Lamelo Ball. Shout out to Rev in the new addition to New Media, Unoriginal Truth. This brother is very intelligent. Raphael, he's pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah, Rev, we gotta link up, bro. Since you here in Atlanta, man.
You hear that, Rev?
Yeah, no doubt, brother. No doubt. He was giving the young gunner though, unoriginal truth, the UK's finest, his shout out. Well, we're gonna do that,
Oh,
Ralph.
my fault. I
We
didn't
probably
hear him.
let's link up around All-Star weekend.
I can't believe they got All-Star weekend still. But these COVID policies, man, they tripping. But we'll see what happens.
And,
Shout out to
man,
shout out.
they got hot wings at strip clubs now here in Atlanta, player.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, man, ain't nothing shut down like that, bro.
Damn, I'm out cooped up in Washington State. Shoot, I need to go to ATL, man.
No, you don't. You don't want to catch nothing here.
Oh man,
That's fact.
Ronald crazy out there, huh?
Crazy.
They act like it's not even around.
Yep.
It's wild, but I hope to have you on the show, brother. And new media.